love your shirts. Oh my gosh, she was
Yo, like, so I didn't know. Like, it's funny because this past month has been crazy. So I had the design, and I finally got the crew necks, and then I was like, well, not everyone wants a crew neck. I'm gonna do shirts, and I was like, oh, it'd be cute as a pin. So I did the pins, and like an Instagram page picked it up, and they've been going crazy. Wow. Like, and so subsequently, people have been buying the shirts and everything. I'm just like, this is dope. Right. Now I'm like, I gotta go home and fill orders.
Alrighty, sorry about that. So they'll both be recording, but you can just like look at this one if that's easier. Which actually is probably easier. Alrighty. Okay, so we talked about how the idea sort of came about. So with this event, is there an ultimate goal or something that you're trying to achieve through it, or is it just sort of to bring people together around something that's a big event for the community?
Yeah, sure. I think for us, and I think the timing has really worked in our favor. So we were talking, earlier about the kind of offline about the Globe series, the Race in Boston Globe experience. Was basically there's no real spaces in Boston where Black people of all ages can congregate, and they broke down a lot of statistics. And so with this film coming out, I think again it's something that we haven't seen as a narrative in movies. Just technologically advanced, like Black excellence, and not necessarily playing the help or about history of slavery. That this would be a dope event to really kind of bring people around. And so that's our goal, is to basically show out, have an opportunity to get together for kind of almost like a historic movie. I mean, it's already broke all types of records and broke the box office and pre-sales. I don't know if you saw the pictures from the world premiere. I mean, everyone is excited about this film, and so it's only natural for all three of our organizations that are really based in networking and bringing people together. For Lightworks and NYBP specifically, people of color, that it would be foolish of us not to do something around this event.
Yeah, and I would just add that I think we're creating a space for folks to have fun and celebrate, but I think also it's just making a statement in Boston that when we have films, products, experiences that reflect us, that we come out and we support. And I was talking with someone earlier today that you could, it's sold out now, but at one point you could buy your own Black Panther ticket. And even probably at a lower cost than we were offering. But people want to pay for the experience. They want to see what other people, they want to get their picture taken, they want to go to an after party. And so, the fact that it sold out in 24 hours just is a testament to people that are really hungry and looking for these type of experiences.
And all of your organizations are open to people of all ages, correct? Mm-hmm. So not just young, old, varying. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're Boston Black Professionals is the only one that has young in its title, but I always tell people young is, it's all in perspective. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a state of mind. We have people that, are fresh out of college or still in college. We usually keep it at like 21 because a lot of our events are at bars and restaurants. But we have people that are upwards of 40 years old. So it doesn't matter. As long as you feel young, you're more than welcome to join. And I think that's also cool about this experience is that while I think naturally our groups are targeted around the ages that we are as the organizers, we've seen, older people buy tickets. I mean, it's spanning all types of age ranges. So it's awesome to see that come together too.
And then, so just tackling more of the movie itself and sort of how that fits into the schema. What do you think the Black Panther movie, we sort of touched on this a little bit already, but what do you think the movie means for minorities, not only within the entertainment industry, but also moviegoers, and just the regular people in the community?
Yeah, I think, I'll speak for me specifically and then just what I think in general. As someone who's not traditionally a comic book lover, I honestly didn't even know Black Panther was a comic before this movie, and I think that a lot of that is because it's not one that's promoted. Now that I'm learning more about it, I'm learning that there's a following and all of that, but I don't know, I hear about Superman, Batman, I don't hear about Black Panther. And so for me, it's created kind of this excitement just around, I just like to see us win. I like to see us reflected. I like to see us experience joy. I think that a lot of our struggle or even our experience that we talk about is a struggle and is the parts of our experience, particularly here in America, that are not so great. And I think we forget that a part of overcoming is having a good time. And so, I'm excited to be able to create this space. This is what I do, for people to be able to enjoy each other. And, the fact that this movie has given us something to rally around and do something of this magnitude is cool. And I think just for the community in general, thinking of all ages, having a superhero that you can look up to that looks like you, having women in powerful, just bad roles that you can look up to. I think that I went to the African American History Museum in DC, and they have this quote up in there. I can't quote it exactly, but it basically is like, Black people invented cool, and like we invented fashion. Like we love to come out, we love to dress up, we love to wear different colors and different prints, and that was reflected in the premiere that happened this week. And so it just gives something exciting, something for people to talk about, and to anticipate, given all that is going on in this country, that when you turn on the TV or radio or podcast, is not things that are uplifting. This is giving us something, though, even as a fantasy world, but it's still something that we can say, like, this is something that this looks like me. Like, this is not, I actually think most sci-fi and things like that are not that far off. Like, I would venture to believe there's a Wakanda somewhere. And so, yeah, I just think just the hope it gives, the inspiration, and just, again, like I said earlier, the fact that you have this level of representation in a positive way, yeah, it just feels good.
And actually, I think you kind of touched upon it, which brought me to a conversation that I was having with someone yesterday, and I was challenging, and we was talking about, I think someone was asking, like, can African Americans appropriate African cultures? And we were just kind of having a dialogue around it, and I was like, well, think about when you were growing up, what was the representation of a Black person outside of being a Black American? And there was not, like, I couldn't think of anyone, like, and it was in a big chat with about like 2,000 people. Like, no one really stepped up to the plate to have an example that they've seen on TV or a show or a cartoon or anything that depicts Black people outside of just Black Americans. And so this is that representation that those kids need, those everyone needs. That's not, everything that we're seeing is not necessarily, as I said before, 12 Years a Slave and Selma, all these movies rooted in our struggle and trying to overcome. This is just us in our natural awesomeness. And so I think it'll be really interesting. And I think I was watching Issa Rae's Snap, or her Instagram story, and she was at the premiere and she was kind of talking about it afterwards, about the creativeness that this movie will spawn. And it's not necessarily about the narrative of our struggle and overcoming, but all right, we've overcame, now we're so awesome, let's build on that. And just to see the buying Black power in this and the star power behind this, it's gonna spark some crazy creative things coming out. And as a creative, just being in the space where I design t-shirts and stuff like that, so many Black creatives are rallying around this Black Panther thing. I mean, it's crazy the amount of creativity that is just being ignited by this movie.
That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because with this in the award season and context, this movie does seem to be changing the entertainment industry from just all these help movies for the awards that most Black people that have won, the big ones have been for places of help, like Selma, The Help actually, which you've referenced. So do you feel like this is sort of a good, positive move for the entertainment industry, something they can actually hang on to and sort of use as something to propel them?
Yeah, I mean, now there's like, I don't know if in reality this was a thought before, but at least a perception that I feel like the entertainment industry or Hollywood needs a proof point of like, wow, people will pay, like this is what people want to see. And I kind of hesitate to say that because it's hard for me to believe that people don't understand that every culture needs positive representation. But, I think, for the most part, things come down to money. So just seeing, Quante mentioned like the record's broken and, this is, I think, the Marvel comic that's sold out the fastest and began screening. Yeah, it should give that person that has that script that they've been trying to get approved now a proof of concept to say, look, like this is what I'm trying to create, and yes, people will come out. It's a viable product, so people will come out for it.
And I think this also really highlights that whatever genre or segment that you're looking at, there is a Black population for it, and there's a strong Black population for it. So I think, I think that Black Panther is not the first movie that's really kind of depicted this. Now that I'm thinking about Moonlight, winning the Best Picture of the year, that's really kind of set the tone. Like, no, there's Black people on all different spectrums, and there's a sub section for that. And even I'm a big Harry Potter fan. Black Hogwarts has been trending like crazy, and like Pottermore is kind of like the Harry Potter world, and there's like a whole Black wizarding world. Like it's just amazing. Like there is a segment for everything on the mainstream. There's a segment, especially for Black people. That Black people love it too, but we're not represented in it as we should be, or as as any culture should be. So I think this really kind of highlights that, and I think the marriage of it being a comic book movie and having Black comic book people that are interested in it, and also the white comic book people and the Hispanic, like it's something that will also bring everyone together too.
Alright. Do either of you have any like work in the entertainment industry? Just wondering. Also, no.
Not at all.
Just see movies
right?
and stuff.
Now I'm just like,
It gives you sort of a hope that like anyone can sort of do it at this point.
Well, especially if it's under the kind of umbrella of bringing positive images to screen. I mean, I think that am I ever going to be like a producer or something? Probably not. But I definitely am more interested now in being able to create opportunities like this for people to know what's out and get access to it. I mean, Black Panther is getting a lot of promotion, so it doesn't need our marketing help. But there's actually a lot of movies that come out every year that don't get the same kind of support. That we all could do more to make sure that people are connecting with more.
And I think the art, I think about like the art of storytelling, and I work for a college that's very much like film centered, and so that's kind of been at the forefront of my mind recently. But everyone has a story to tell, and so I feel like, in everyone's own right, they could be involved in the entertainment. It's interesting because you're not the only one experiencing that. And I think it's interesting now seeing so many Black representation, so much Black representation in different narratives that everyone has a story to tell, so there will be an audience for you. It might be, some audiences might be bigger, Black Panther, some audiences might not be as big, but there's an audience for it.
Okay. And I just have one last question, and it's more like an opinion as well. And it's sort of like a vision. So in the future, if you were to think maybe 10, 15 years down the line, what would you hope to see within the entertainment industry and like Hollywood and things like that, and for representation of minorities and Black people?
My hope is that it just becomes the norm, that you know, I know that there's like a category unofficially, you know, we say black movies but it's the same. I was having a conversation with someone the other day about like female bosses or like all these terms because it feels like when it's a woman or when it's a black movie, it's out of the norm, and it shouldn't be. And so I'm hoping that it just becomes something that is just a part of the regular identity of Hollywood. That it doesn't. I like that we stand out and congregate and have a lot of pride around movies that have to do with us. But I also want other people to see our experiences as well and kind of see us for who we are. And I was thinking when you were talking about there being audiences for everything, or there being a black experience within every kind of subgroup, the thing that actually popped in my mind was like, and it's interesting that that's not recognized because we actually invented a lot of this stuff. Like it actually, a lot of it comes from our culture. We just aren't always the ones that market it. And so, yeah, that's my hope, is that this just becomes, you know, Black Panther 2075, year 2075, is just a movie that everyone wants to see, you know, and it doesn't feel like it's just targeted for some specific. And so I think, you know, that stuff takes, I had a white coworker who told me that how excited his son is to go see it, because he's like, wow, like I didn't know about this. And so I'm hoping more of that happens, and that we do more owning and producing and directing, you know, that we're on other sides of it as
Shout
well.
out to Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, because he's directing this one. He's done great work too, especially like Fruitvale Station
I
and
know.
all that.
He must, I'm like, him and Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I was like, are they
no,
friends?
yeah.
or something?
Like, whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
And
He
I
did Creed too,
love
didn't
that.
he?
Yeah, Creed, Fruitvale
Yeah.
Station, this one.
Yeah.
And I think like that might be a little bit off topic, but I think that's also really exciting to see, and like to see so many people want to bring that have made it in terms of like Issa Rae, Ron Coulier, like bring their people on. Like if I'm winning, you're winning. Like I was following Issa Rae when she was doing her
Awkward
YouTube,
Black Girl.
yeah, Awkward Black Girl, and mainly all their cast that was there made it to the HBO with her. Like it's, you know, to bring each other up and lift. Lift as you climb. And so kind of back to your original question about what do I see kind of Hollywood in the next 15 years, I think I didn't watch the Grammys in its entirety, but I saw a lot of clips from it, and I saw a lot of clips from different races, and my goal and hope for Hollywood is that they become so inclusive that it naturally just educates people. So I think like with your coworker's son that's really excited to go see Black Panther, naturally they're gonna learn about Africa. Even though this is a fictitious country, they're gonna learn about different cultures and traditions. And then when they get up to, you know, being, you know, of work age and going in and you know, making those decisions, they have that cultural background. Because as much as we want to accept or deny it, you know, the media is a heavy influence of how we perceive the world. And so entertainment industry has a duty to be represented across the board for all different cultures, because they're influencing the people that are going to grow up and make these decisions. And I think that's why we're in such a weird place right now, because the people that are making those decisions were back in a time where everything just looked like them. So they didn't have to think about how, you know, things would affect people that didn't look like them. So I really hope that, you know, Hollywood recognizes its duty to society in representing not just Black culture, but Hispanic culture, you know, Indian culture, the whole nine.
Alrighty.